Hello Exiles, and today we're going to be going through Blighted maps. Now, with the introduction of new prismatic oils that are going to be introduced into 3.25, I feel that Blighted maps are going to be in short demand because people are going to want to do a lot more Blighted content than they have wanted to do in previous leagues. So for that reason, I thought I would do a quick video today as a sum up of how you actually progress through a Blighted map and what the strategy and what the best strategy is in terms of tower placement. Now, I will admit my strategy is obviously I don't think I may have harnessed the best in terms of the anoints, but we will go into that in a second. I will obviously provide you with a website that will provide you with all of the anoints and tricks and trades that you can obviously get, and I will advise you which are the best depending on which towers you are wanting to place, and we will do a little diagram in terms of how we place the towers. Before we carry on, obviously I just want to say thank you for everyone who's been watching my videos and followed me so far on my journey. If you aren't subscribed, I would very like it if you would subscribe to my channel. I am trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I am going to be streaming live on Twitch on Thursday of this week, and I am also going to be streaming on Twitch next week for the launch for Friday. The link to that will be in the description below. I would love it if you could join me, even if you just throw me a follow on Twitch, and then you will then get a notification when I then go live, and come and say hello, come and say hi. Other than that, let's begin. So the first thing that I'm going to go through is a Blight Ravaged map. Now, I thought I might as well go to the hardest one because the same thing will apply to a regular Blight map, but they will be much easier. So I thought, why not just go top level and go for a Ravaged map. The first tip that I would probably try and get for you to do is try and get an inside map. Now, what I mean by that is try and get one that's not outside. For example, I have one here which is the Forbidden Woods, so that is outside, and I have an estuary which is also outside. Now, the reason why I would probably say not to run these, if you can run them then that's fine, but the reason why I usually say go for an inside map is just because you are usually limited to the amount of lanes that will branch off and you won't get overwhelmed. When you are outside, it can get quite overwhelming in terms of the volume of lanes that will appear on the actual map for you, and sometimes it gets a little bit hard to manage. When you are indoors, i.e. like a temple or Crimson Temple or something that is within doors like cells or anything of the same variant, it is a lot easier in terms of trying to navigate round and obviously place towers at good choke points. So what I would advise is try and get an indoor map first of all. Second thing is do not go above map tier 14. Now, as you can see on screen here, this map is a tier 14. These ones are also tier 14, but sometimes there are tier 15 and tier 16. There is no benefit. It has been proven many times on Reddit by people that have done it that there is no benefit to running a tier 15 and a tier 16. You will get the exact same loot and in terms of drops. The only thing that will change is the volume of XP that you get because you are killing tier 16 monsters, and the life of the monsters as well, and the damage will be increased. So there is seriously, unless you're really bothered about the XP, which most people are not, they're more bothered for the drops, there is no difference in the drops from a tier 14 to a tier 16. Now, in terms of oils, if you are going to run the oils on the map, I would usually recommend that you run a silver, a opalescent and a black if you can. Failing a black or opalescent, just run with crimson and a violet. There's no real set strategy to this, but just for this playthrough and for this guide, I'm going to run this map completely white with nothing else in here, just so that it's nice and easy. The next thing is that I don't have any anoints on my rings, just because I didn't really play that much in terms of Blight this league. Plus, obviously, I don't believe that you can add an anoint to a Calandra's Touch. I've not really tried it, but it's not something that I really wanted to start messing around with. But what I'm going to do now is I am going to show you a very good website with the best anoints and how you can work out what is the best ones to get. So this website here, I will be putting a copy to this link in the description below, is a very good website, and what it does, you can actually mess around with your rings and your amulets and maps, and it will tell you what you will get. Now what I'm really going to discuss today is literally just the ring anoints. So if you click on ring, you can then pick oils that you want to anoint. Now the main ones that I would usually recommend is, first of all, one is you want to try and get this. Your chilling towers freeze enemies for 0.2 seconds while they are affected by a chilling beam. That means that they are basically perma stunned. On the left here, that is a silver oil and an opalescent oil. The second option is entirely up to you. You can either go for burning ground. Your meteor towers create burning ground for 3 seconds. That is a nice good one if you are putting meteor towers everywhere. So that is literally just a violet and an indigo. You could go for seismic, and for seismic towers have increased length and range of cascades. You could increase the range. You could increase the damage of your seismic towers. Or you could go for empowering towers and have them have increased range so that they cover more towers, and you could also give all towers within range have increased damage. It's entirely up to you, but you also have this last one here, but it's very expensive, is double damage 50%, but it's 2 golden oils. That is entirely up to you, your preference, but in terms of, I would guarantee at least get this one, because the stun is very, very good, and the freeze that it will inflict will save you in many situations that you need. So that is what I would advise in terms of the anoints for your rings. So the next thing I'm going to advise you is, I'm just going to do a very quick diagram just to kind of explain. So your pump will be here, okay? So let's just make my brush a little bit bigger. From here, it will then usually branch out in multiple directions. Now this is obviously where we need to obviously kind of focus, because what will usually happen is, as soon as you press the timer or press the pump, one branch will usually branch off, let's say like this, okay, and it will open up at a portal. So let's say we put a portal here, okay. For the first 15 seconds, do not do anything, okay. Once the first 15 seconds or so has obviously been elapsed, it will then branch off again. So you may then have a branch off here like this, then they then may intersect and go up here, and you may then get another portal here like this. What you're looking for is this right here, this choke point. Now typically there should then be like a tower like here or here or here or around here. This is where you want to try and focus your first initial tower placement. Now what you want to do is you want to put a seismic tower. So I'm just going to put a letter here. So I'm just going to put a seismic tower. So I'm just going to put S here. So we would want a seismic tower there. You would want a empower tower here to make sure that obviously that it encapsulates the seismic tower. And then you would then want in the middle here, if you can, a freeze tower. So obviously the chilling towers that we just spoke about. So obviously you can't quite see that because I did that very poorly, but you'd want a freeze tower there. The other two either side here are entirely up to you. You can either go minion, you can either go meteors, or you can either go for lightning. It's entirely up to you. Just pick some nice damage towers. It's entirely up to you what you want to pick. What all you need to do is enforce this strategy in every single method and every single lane. So if the lanes now branch off again, so let's say it branches off over here like this, and then it branches over there like that, and then over there like that, you need to then focus all of your towers here and put them all on the choke points around this. This then means that any mobs that obviously then come down the lanes will get stuck at this choke point, and they'll all stop, and they'll all get chopped there, they'll all get stopped there. So you can literally stand right here and you won't get hit by the monsters, and all of your towers will do all of the damage for you, so you won't even need to engage. You could pretty much AFK it. Now there are 2 mods that you do need to watch out for, and they are quite important. They are, monsters cannot be stunned, so you want to avoid this. And there is another one that says something to do with monsters' action speed cannot be modified beyond something values. I can't remember the wording exactly. But stunned and action speed, if you see either of these, roll the map again. Re-roll it. Because this will brick your map. Basically, you're going to put a seismic tower, which will stun them, and it will kind of stun them in place. The freeze tower will freeze them, so it's not stunned, but that will then freeze them. This action speed overrides that freeze, and the stun overrides the stun. So you don't want either of these, because it will just completely brick your map. Okay? With that said, let's jump into the map and put this into practice. So the first thing that I do when I usually walk into a map is, before I even press the button, you move your portal, because the last thing you want to do is accidentally walk into your portal while you're running around in a bit of a panic state and obviously trying to put towers down. So I usually move it up against the wall so it's out of the way. Then trigger your blight. Now, as you can see up here, it's gone south. Now, there's one lane there, as you can see. Now, as I said, don't do anything for the first few seconds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it here, and at 4 minutes and 48 seconds, it will spread again. I'm going to turn the vocals on here for you, just so that you can hear it. Hold on, sound. There you go. There you go. And it spread right where I stood, because I kind of anticipated it was going to go there. Okay, so you would put a seismic here and an empower here, and you would upgrade it to level 3 like this. Level 3. 1, 2, 3. That is now done. What I would also put here is your freeze tower, and I would put it next to it because it's within range, and again upgrade it to level 3, and you don't need to do any more there. If you now want to start adding damage towers, you can do. You can now start adding your fire, you can start adding your minions, but bearing in mind, when you start upgrading these to maximum levels, you will start to run out of money, so just bear that in mind. Whilst we were doing that, it did branch off another lane here, so we do need to get ready for this lane as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for this to maybe merge again, and I'm going to put it right here on this choke point. So we're going to put another seismic, another empower, and we'll put a freeze there. Now, for the first minute or so, you may need to engage just to kind of get the monies, just so that you can actually buy the towers for the lanes. So as you can see here, I'm just slowly engaging. So we've got seismic down. Focus the seismic out of all of them, because the seismic is the one that is going to stun them. So I'm just waiting to get a little bit more money here. There we go. Seismic's up. Now we focus on the empower, just so that it empowers the stun. There we go. And we'll do a little bit more just so I can get enough money just to buy this, because there is another lane that's branched off to the north here. So you need to be very observant in this game, and obviously be aware of new lanes that are opening. So as you can see here, there's a boss, so I'm just going to swap my gem. There we go. That's going to kill him. Now up here, this is now branched off. So if you look at the map here, this is the choke point right here. So I'm going to put seismic, empower, and freeze right on the choke point. So upgrade, upgrade. Again, round it, you can put whatever the hell you want. So if you want to put minion, if you want to put lightning, it's entirely up to you. It doesn't really matter, as long as you've got a bit of damage to put down just while they're stunned. So I'm just going to kill a few more just so you can kind of see a finished setup. There's a few that have slipped through the net here just because I didn't put any on this lane here. So I'm going to upgrade this, and I'm going to put another seismic. Yeah, I'm going to put another seismic. I was just double checking that I've not missed a lane there. I saw some. This lane that's coming up here. So these will all get hit by this. There we are. So I'm going to upgrade that. And we'll upgrade that. And we'll upgrade that. Now technically, you can now step back. Now, technically, all being good, if you had the Anoints, then everything would have worked well within this Blight Ravaged map. However, within this testing and within this me going through this map, because I was taking my time and because I wasn't thoroughly watching the lanes properly, because I was too busy explaining things to you, and because I didn't have any Anoints on my rings to be able to freeze and help with the stun and help with the damage, I actually failed this map. But I'm going to put that down to the fact that I was trying to explain this to you in a more comprehensive manner. But you kind of get the gist of what you need to do. So what I would advise you is, before you run any of these maps, make sure that you have your ring Anoints and make sure that you actually have the actual tools to be able to defeat Ravage map monsters, because they are quite tough. I don't die in this. It's more a case of that they actually managed to push through the lane and they managed to get through my towers because I didn't have them set up properly and because I was taking my time trying to explain things to you. Going forward, obviously that is not going to happen. Obviously, when I am in the game myself and I am, and I am playing it myself, I never fail a Blight map due to the fact that I know exactly where the towers need to go, and I am not slow in any sense of the form in terms of putting down the towers. I am rushing around, putting them down and making sure that they are all set up and on all of the choke points. So as long as you follow the strategy that I have explained in terms of making sure that the choke points are covered, then you shouldn't have any issues. The other thing that I wanted to go through with yourself is the bottom rings of the actual portals that are on the screen here. Now, as you can see at the bottom here, there are a series of icons within the circles. Now, these are basically what the monsters are immune to. So if it says that it is, obviously it's got like an ice icon in there, then that would mean that it is freeze immune. If it's a lightning bolt, then it is lightning immune. If it's a fireball, then it is fire immune. Minion, if it's the little purple dude, it's minion immune. And if it's the fist, that means it's seismic immune. To help you, I'm going to put the words on here. So as you can see there, the first one is obviously freeze immune. Second one here would be lightning immune. Now, if it's got a red swirly like splodge above the actual portal, as you can see on the fourth one there, that means that that portal will spawn a boss. So basically you want to be aware of that. The next one there, as you can see, is then lightning. So obviously that will then make it, so obviously it's lightning immune. The next one after that would then be a fire immune. I'm not going to go through the next lightning and the next fire, but sorry, the next ice. Now you may get some combinations. So as you can see there, the ice one obviously is an ice immune or freeze immune and a boss lane. There is the minion lane further on there, and then right near the end there is the seismic. Now the reason why it's best to take note of these is that the lanes will spawn from left to right. So what you need to know is that at the beginning you're going to have your first lane is going to be freeze immune, so that means you want to get down seismic towers, whereas by the time it gets to the end game they're going to be seismic immune, so that means that you want to put freeze lanes down. So as long as you have a balance of everything, then that should cover all of your bases in terms of your immunities towards all of the monsters. But that is obviously a little helpful guide there, so you can kind of understand what they would be immune to, and obviously just so you can avoid it, because the last thing you want to do is put down a bunch of seismic towers and all the monsters are seismic immune, and they will literally just walk straight through your towers and it will not stop them in any way, shape or form. If you had some freeze towers down as well and the ring anoint, then it will freeze them in place. Now, if you do struggle with blighted maps, there is a way to make it easier. So let's say, for example, if the towers are not kicking out enough damage, or maybe you're lacking damage, then you can always put on the towers the sepia oils. What that will do is it will make sure that the towers do 75% more damage. If you are struggling with spending money, or you're always running out of money, you can put amber oil on, and what that will do is it will reduce the cost of building towers, so it will make sure that you can put as many towers down as possible and you don't have to sit there waiting to obviously accumulate monies. If you want to generate XP, then the green one is the best for that. You will get 135 XP gain. That is quite good early on in the league if you are obviously trying to level. There are some that obviously they spawn faster. I would not recommend you do that unless you have a ridiculously powerful build that can clear very quickly. The rest are more a case of that you may get lucky chests. This one obviously provides you with more bosses. More bosses usually means more chests at the end. Violet oils will obviously give an additional chance for a reward chest. Then we have more. The chests are lucky. The black one, I can't remember what it does. I will upgrade it. 1 second. I will upgrade so we can find out. There we go. Just flick tabs. If you put the black on, it increases an additional reward. All pearlescent, obviously chests are lucky, more chests are lucky. Silver will add quantity, and gold is a 90% chance for increased rewards on your maps, but it is very expensive to use gold, and I would not recommend you that you do it. Other than that, guys, that is basically it. Apologies obviously that I didn't manage to show you, but you got the gist of the blighted maps in terms of how you actually do it, and obviously how you actually complete them. All you need to do is just make sure that you cover your choke points, and you have your ring anoints, and you have decent damage. Basically, as long as you have your ring anoints and the right oils, I have been able to do this build and prove to people that you can do this build completely naked without wearing any items. Obviously, I would do that without having to explain the towers, and I would run around and just place all of the towers and obviously make it obviously nice and fast. Because I was having to explain it to you guys and obviously explain the towers and just show to you where it needs to be done, and obviously doing it slowly, that obviously precious seconds is obviously quite valuable in blighted maps, and you do need to be quite fast, and you do need to be on the ball to be able to run them as well. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching. I will be posting some more videos over the next couple of days in terms of other types of content and obviously things to try and help you with the new league that is coming up. And I hope to see you on Thursday with my Twitch stream. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching and stay sane.